been spending most our lives living in a Guitar Hero paradise.
Hello and welcome to episode 101 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Rovers, with me as usual is John Denton.
Keeping it real.
We're about to do what we always do, go through two top 10 lists, the 10 games we've each been playing over the past 7 days. Number 10s are the games we've been playing the least. Number 1s are the games we've been playing the most. That's it, John, let's do this.
Right, my number 10, a game called Hill Climb Racing. It's on the Android. It might be on iOS, I don't know. This just jumped out at me on the Google Play Store, just because, I tell you why, not because of the game, which is a very simple 2D, looks like it's been drawn by a child version of Trials. It's basically unplayable, but it does the job. It's free, it's fine, it has adverts for Clash of Clans like every game seems to. But I grew up in Guernsey, as you know, people might not know. I'm not from there, but that's where I grew up. And in one of the major events in Guernsey is this thing where people used to drive up a hill really fast. And it makes me remember, since I moved away, that growing up in a very small island, things like that seem incredibly important. And you move away and you realise how fucking stupid it was that people used to just drive up this hill. People used to die every year trying to drive up this hill really fast.
Why have I never heard of this?
The hill, it's just called the Hill Climb in the Val de Terres, which is a quite steep hill in Guernsey, but like everything in that tiny island, nothing's really as big as it seems. And also, I don't think people do die every year. I don't think I should have said that. I think people have died doing it. But
do they have to use special like roll cage? I mean, is it any old car?
Any old car would drive up this hill. Yeah. I mean, it's a steep hill, but it really isn't. Like Guernsey, I've used this example speaking to you before. Literally once on the front page of the Guernsey Press, which is the newspaper, was a story about 2 pigeons getting their feet stuck in the pavement outside Boots. That was the front page headline of the Guernsey Press. That's literally what happened. Wow. Hill climb racing. That's why I played it, because of the hill climb. It wasn't as good as the real hill climb. But the thing is, this hill, you couldn't even see what was going on. So you just sat at the bottom, and then they started, and then you heard later on if they got to the top or not. What a waste of time.
I can't believe I've never heard of that thing. I've heard of, chasing cheese and whatnot, but that's weird. So the game's not worth a damn, no?
No, it's basically unplayable.
Oh, well, okay. All right, fair enough.
Everything's just tat now. There's like 90 Flappy Bird clones, and then just a load of tat.
Okay, well, more on that in a minute, perhaps.
Right.
My number 10 is a game called Jonny Crush on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game. I downloaded this because when I was on my 360, a little window came up saying, you're a fan of Battlefield and Call of Duty, so why not try Jonny Crush? And I thought, all right. It's an indie game. It's an incredibly scrappy first-person shooter version of EDF.
Oh, yeah.
So you're in this very simplistic metropolis, and bugs come at you from the floor, and they fly, and they're on the sides of the buildings and stuff, and you shoot them. It's fairly tidy for an XSplit game, but it's so simple that it's unplayable. I mean, if you play the trial, you're bored before the end of it because it's just waves of bugs. But it's far more impressive than some of the first person. I looked into it and actually came out in 2009. Oh. And I thought, wow, it's more impressive than a lot of first-person shooters that I played on XSplit that have come in the wake of it. So it's quite impressive. I checked, and it's made by a couple of brothers and a sister. And they'd set up their own website at the time of the game, and now it's gone, which is sad. But yeah, Jonny Crush. I mean, yeah, Jonny Crush. It's EDF first-person shooter, 69p. You'll get bored before the trial's over, sadly.
All right. My number 9 is Pac Man Lite on the iPad. For some reason, my little boy woke up this morning and all he wanted to do, or anything that he wanted, was Pac Man. That's all he'd say. It's Pac Man. I don't know how he knows what Pac Man is. I don't know where he's seen it before. So I said, all right, I'll download Pac Man on the iPad for you. It's an official Namco Bandai version, and it's free, but fuck it up, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's just, you turn it on and there's adverts straight away, slow adverts that take you straight to the App Store. Then when you manage to get rid of them, it's all coins and buy this and you have this many continues and just as many of those ugly systems as they could have rammed into it as possible for Pac Man. Just just let us have it for free.
I'm sure there are free
There
versions
are,
on
but
there.
it's, come on, it's Pac Man. It's like the old Pac Man. We're not asking for free. I understand you don't have to give it away for free, but just a bit of class. Pac Man away for free. It's just a classy thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure underneath the surface, iOS is like almost breaking under the weight of Pac Man clones that are
It's
free.
true.
How do you control it? Just a D-pad setup?
No, just swipe. So,
all right.
So he's also moving like he doesn't auto move, does he? I mean, it's not as good, but like he's 2. He didn't really know what he's doing. But yeah, it was just kind of ugly.
All right. Okay, fair enough. I've always meant to go back to that Championship DX.
That is a very good game.
Very good indeed. But yeah, okay. All right. Well, my number 9 is another Xbox Live indie game called Little Flappers. Do you want to hazard a guess at what this is?
No, but I already know.
Oh yeah, it's the inevitable X-Blig Flappy Bird clone. It's a funny one because you can hate Flappy Bird as much as you like, and a lot of people really do seem to hate it. But the tidal wave of imitators, I played a load of them last week. It's kind of illustrated that they haven't been, very few of them, if any, have been able to mimic the appeal of it. And this comes far closer. It comes closest, I think. Despite the gameplay's identical and it feels like Flappy Bird. It's identical. Instead of the green Mario pipes, you've got these rotating blades that look like the blades from Super Meat Boy. The game did make a very bad first impression because until you buy the full version, if you try the trial of Little Flappers, every sort of 40 or 50 seconds, gameplay's interrupted by one of those messages. Buy it now.
Oh right.
They normally come up at the end of the trial, but on this, every 40 or 50 seconds. So even if you intend to buy it, the game screws you over because the second that comes up, you die because the lag kills the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Flappy Bird on the Xbox 360. There are extras. There's a classic mode, which is self-explanatory. There's advanced mode in which there are coins to collect and the blades sort of move around a little bit. And then there's insane mode, which there's coins and the blades move around like mad. And there's leaderboards. I'm not sure how. As far as I was aware, you could not do online leaderboards on XBlig, but this one appears to have one. Unless all the names are phony, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a legitimate online leaderboard. And there's simultaneous offline multiplayer for up to 4 people at the same time. I tried it with 2 people. Me and my girlfriend tried it, and it was fun. I can imagine that 4 would be fun, especially on insane mode, if only as a quick way to sort of decide who's getting the drinks in or something. The only real problem with it is that the music is not consistent. It's a sort of version of Ride of the Valkyries, but every time you die, it starts again. So you don't get so it'd be nice if it just kept playing in the background. But yeah, basically it wipes the floor with all of the other attempts to mimic Flappy Bird, and you get to play it on a pad, which is a win-win as far as I'm concerned. But it's not going to turn. If you hate Flappy Bird, this won't change your mind.
I can't believe that this Flappy Bird, the phenomenon.
No, me neither.
Okay, this one's barely worth talking about, to be honest, but it's here nonetheless. It's Hydro Thunder on Xbox 360.
Oh yeah.
Again, this is becoming a theme, but my little boy, I was just flicking through the games on the 360. I've talked about this before, just to distract him for 5 minutes, and it's like boat, I'm playing a boat. And I was quite surprised, actually. He managed to he couldn't do racing or anything like that, but he actually managed to sit down with the controller and control the boat in Hydro Thunder for quite a decent while, like crashing into things. He saw a shark or something like that. And it kind of just reminded me of when we play games, we just play for the goals. We talked, I think Dave Turner's actually talked about this before, but young kids just use these things and play them however they want and get fun out of them anyway. So he was just driving the wrong way. I thought it was hilarious, crashing into the other things, and yeah, he managed to occupy him for about half an hour, 40 minutes, just failing at Hydro Thunder. So yeah, it's just funny to see. It's going to be interesting now as he's getting, because I was amazed. He's within the last 3-4 weeks, he's got to the point where he was able to hold the accelerator with one hand and actually steer the boat a bit with his left hand. He's only ever been able to really play touchscreen stuff before. So it's going to be interesting in the next 6 months as he actually learns how to play controller-based video games, what he's going to want to play. It's kind of mad.
Or maybe he'll rebel against you and start reading books.
He likes books. Peppa Pig.
That's a good one. I got that.
Oh,
I got that
fucking
myself.
Peppa Pig.
All right. So you didn't really play it yourself?
No.
All right.
Oh, but I played it a while ago. I know what it is. It's quite good. Yeah, well, actually, it still looks quite nice as well, and it looked quite fun. So I was
Did
kind
it
of
compare
surprised.
to the original Dreamcast one?
I never played that.
Oh, it was very good.
Was it?
Very good. Hence the remake.
I thought it was like an old game.
The first one I played was, I think there was one that came out on the N64 and then was ported to the Dreamcast, or vice versa, because they were on both formats.
There wasn't one from the olden days.
Maybe there was. There might have been. I never played it. So there. Okay, well, my number 8 is Bastion on the Xbox 360. Microsoft are doing these flash sales at the moment. Apparently, it's one. I don't know if it's for the full month of February, but every day there's a 24-hour flash sale. And Bastion was one of the. Rock Band Blitz is in there at the moment for like under £3, I think. So Bastion was £2. I contacted you. I said, "Is it worth getting?" You said yes. And for some reason, I hesitated, and I just downloaded the trial. It's most people know what it is. It's an isometric action RPG with this reactive sort of dynamic storytelling, with this narrator sort of talking over you. The trial is very generous, and in a way it's a perfect trial, because as the story starts is when the trial finishes, and it feels excellent. Looks really, really great. I love the music. The narration is instantly engaging, but I know that I have no time for it at the moment. It looks like a bit of a time sink. Have you finished it?
No, I don't know how far through I am. I'm a few hours into it, and I kind of just left it behind. I loved everything that it was doing, but that genre doesn't do huge amounts for me anyway, like the whole dungeon crawler thing. And even though it was a classier version of that type of thing, I just found it, If I bought it at the time and that's what I was doing, I would have got through it. But, the appeal just suddenly... It wasn't one of those ones that waned. It just literally just switched off for me. I was like, loving this, don't want to play this anymore. That happens sometimes. Yeah,
see, to be honest, I'm the same as that with Dungeon Crawlers. I started playing, I thought, this is really good. But even for £2, I know that after a couple of hours, I'd kind of get fed up.
Yeah.
I looked into it's developed by the developer's called Supergiant. It was their first game, and I looked at their new game called Transistor, which looks really cool. It looks kind of like a spiritual sequel, but there's loads of new elements to it. So I definitely will not let that pass me by when it's new. But I had to just sort of say I'm glad I investigated, but I can't get stuck into it.
Yeah, mine was still sitting on my PC. I would like to go back to it at some point just to get through it. So it's not supposed to be very long, I don't think.
Oh fuck! I see. Well, I looked at it and I was like, this looks like it's going to take about 10 hours.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it might be about 3 or 4 hours long. So I do kind of want to get through it, but yeah.
Choice. Oh well.
Yeah, it does have some really nice stuff coming out later as well as you get further into it. But yeah, it's tough. It's fucking tough, man. There's too many games. It's good, but there's too many games.
True that.
Oh, it's me, isn't it? As I sit there in silence. Okay, so my number 7 isn't really a game, but we've done this before. This week I purchased an Xbox One for work purposes.
Oh yeah.
And tried to set the thing up and just thought I'd have I haven't spent enough time with the OS to do the thorough thing, and Chet's done that very well. But just like my first impressions, just I was excited because it's exciting to buy a new console, and it's fucking big, and everybody knows that. And you set up all the sensor and everything like that. The first thing that happens after that is that you're confronted with an advert that plays out. So you sit through the advert, and then I was just absolutely fucking baffled by it. I had no idea. All I wanted to do was find some stuff to download. I'll talk about them later. And I couldn't work out how to find it. And I thought I'd see who was online, and I couldn't understand the friends list at all. And I was trying to speak to it, and it can't understand my accent, which it eventually did. But I thought, of all the accents, I mean, mine, I'm sure I speak quite clearly. And yeah, I know you talked about this before, but putting AA batteries in the fucking controller. It's like, what is this? What is this machine? There's a lot about it I do like. It does look quite nice next to my other machines. I was fine with the pad, actually. I'll talk about that later. I was a bit worried about that. And it's nice to complete the set. But I don't know, when I first put on the PlayStation, that kind of cool, blue, everything's slick, fast. This just felt like I don't understand what I'm looking at. I feel like an old person.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I am right now with it. It's a funny one because I bought it for work and I've got some work to do with the machine, which I think I'll be able to talk about next week. So I've not done a normal thing. I haven't got any games for it. So it's just this kind of big box that doesn't have anything to play on it, which is kind of weird. So I've not given it the fair shake in that respect. I definitely want to get hold of Dead Rising now and probably Rise as well. But nice to complete the set. But I'm definitely glad that the one I went for on launch day was PlayStation, and I can still see that being the one that I'd go for on multi-platform games, which isn't really surprising given the whole debacle that keeps happening.
Have you? So, I mean, if you're going to buy games for it, set a bit of time aside beforehand, because, I mean, Rise especially takes a little bit of a long time to install, and then you have to install it again. Have you been to the shop?
The store?
The store, yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, because it's not really a store.
It just seems to be blended into the rest of it.
Yeah, but you can't really. They make it very hard to search for stuff, and there's not much information on there. If you go into the store, and there's a big high definition picture of like Dead Rising, you're like, okay, you click on it, and it's like buy. It's like, well, I mean, is there any co-op multiplayer? Do you want to buy it or not? It's like a picture. There's a high definition picture. Do you want it or not? Well, I need a bit more information. Get out. It's just like a stall with a load of pictures put up, and they're like, do you want this? I'm like, well, this doesn't feel like a shop. It's like something like a market stall they've set up in 2 seconds. So I'm as sort of downloadable games as of appearing. Yeah. I don't know. There's no area for each. I tell
you what, the PlayStation Store isn't very good either. On the PS4, it's kind of confusing to find things. I was just looking through for something that came out this week, which I have a feeling you might talk about later, and that was a struggle to find. I had to go through and then end up searching for it by letter. Yeah. So yeah, neither of them are really doing justice. And when you go on Steam, I mean. Interfaces that are that simple are always, I'm sure, incredibly difficult to actually make. They just seem like you or I could do it in 2 seconds. Yeah. But I don't understand how it just doesn't make any sense. It's like an Xbox 360 that just, I don't know, it's just been smoking crack. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is mad. I mean, there's been one update already, so there's a couple of improvements have been made. So now there's an indicator telling you when your batteries are about to run out, and if you go into games and apps, it tells you how much hard drive space you've got. But the big patch is coming March, hopefully, I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like, but hopefully it should do the trick.
The funniest, it said, what did it say? It said, like. It was asking me whether I wanted it to just turn on when I walked in the room or not, and I didn't want that to happen. And it said, so you don't have to turn it on or turn the light on or even put down your sandwich. I was like, what sandwich? What a strange thing to say. Why am I walking around in the dark with a sandwich? It's an utterly bizarre machine. But yeah, open mind. I mean, it's all about the games anyway, obviously, but bizarre.
So there are times when I turn on Battlefield and it will think about it for a minute, and then it'll just stop and an error message will come up saying Battlefield took too long to start. Like, I fucking know it did. I'm sat here waiting for it. You'd have to tell me.
Didn't I tried to send you a message and you said it came through on your phone?
That was I think that was. I might have missed it. I was on the 360 playing something else, and normally, I mean, although it doesn't tell you when you come online. On either, it won't say when I come online on Xbox One, and it won't tell me on 360. And if anyone comes on, unless they're on 360, not Xbox One. Yeah. But yeah, that message pinged up on Smart Glass on my phone. So I'm pretty sure in that normally it would, but for some reason that time it didn't. Okay. Maybe they've changed it. Maybe now it doesn't. I don't even know. It is a crazy, crazy little box that.
It's not little.
It's just sorry, my mistake. Okay, right. Anyway, my number 7 is Need for Speed Rivals on the Xbox One. I played it a little bit. I think I'm just going to put it to bed. Really, yeah. It's good, but good doesn't cut it. I've still got Hot Pursuit sitting here that I want to really. I still want to give Hot Pursuit a proper bash because I smashed it back in the day, but I still haven't given it enough time. Rivals is a very good approximation of those earlier Criterion games, and I do like it, but. And it's so much better than so many other racing games, but I need to face facts at the moment because Titanfall's almost here, and there's a few other things on the horizon. So I played it earlier today, and I really do like it. It's good. It's just it's not good enough to I need an excuse to put it to one side, and I'm basically done. As good as it is, though. Yeah,
for sure. I basically had the exact same reaction to it. It's not even niggling at me. It's just like, because it doesn't feel like you can complete it. I know you can get through all the things, but I didn't really feel like I was achieving anything by getting through the speed lists, and it didn't feel like anything was really changing. I know I was unlocking a new car here and there, but yeah, so, half finished.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. My next one is I've just realised that I've only written 9 games down on my list, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll make it up as I go along. My next one, which is definitely on my list, is Killer Instinct on Xbox One. Trying to find it was quite fun, but I found it in the end. Another baffling piece of software. I didn't really understand. I know it's a free-to-play game. Does the character change every week that you can use?
I don't know if it's every week, but yeah, it does. Maybe every fortnight.
Okay, so the character is some woman whose name I've forgotten now.
Sadira?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the problem is I'd never played Killer Instinct back in the day, so I don't know how it works. And all that was happening was I was doing large combos, then the person I was fighting would do a large combo on me, but then when I did a large combo on they would just do a combo breaker, but I didn't know how to do a combo breaker, and at no point was I having any fun. But this isn't the game's fault. Obviously, you can't just walk in like that. And I was just basically trying to play exactly like Street Fighter, and I don't know, it was instantly extremely unappealing to me, but I have no reverence to the old game.
But it is more like Street Fighter 4 than Killer Instinct, I'd say, on balance. I think if you play it in a similar way, I mean, all of the ultras and stuff are very similar. I mean, admittedly, you can't play it on an arcade stick, but were you playing online?
No. I knew I just played the single player for a bit, the survival mode or whatever it's called. It probably would. I don't know if that character is a complicated character or not a complicated character. There's just something incredibly off-putting about downloading it and then everything being locked off, and it's just everything about it was unappealing.
I suppose that's the downside to mixing the characters up, because Jago, who at launch was the free character, is Ryu. He's the most accessible character. Yeah,
that's what I needed. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, I mean, because Sadira is a character who I said I'm going to look at her later because she's really complicated and her moveset is different from absolutely everybody else's. Right. So thinking about it, I mean, I've tried her a little bit, but that's the problem.
Yeah, I couldn't get anything going at all with her, really.
Yeah, she has a lot of ranged attacks and whatnot. I don't know. Shit, that's a shame because Killer Instinct's genuinely good. Yeah,
I'm going to give it another go. Definitely, I didn't give it a fair shake, so I'm not writing it off. But it wasn't. I didn't like the system. I've said it about that game before it came out. I just would rather have the game, you know.
But next, at some point, the next time you go on, let's play against each other, and I'll let you attempt to set up a friends lobby so we can have a game.
Is that going to be impossible?
I've done it many times, and every time I try and do it again, I don't know what I'm doing.
Fucking great. Do you have to do it with your voice, or my hands, or can I do it with the controller?
You can do it. You enter in a pad, but there's some way, and if you're in a party, it will say you can't fight each other. But, honestly, we'll have fun and games. We have to do it at some point this week.
I'm up for that.
Cool.
I need to use this box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, well, my number 6 is TXK. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
on the PlayStation
TXK,
Vita? Yeah. TXK, the Jeff Minter thing. I've played it for quite a bit. It's actually probably higher than 6, but I'm kind of a little bit mystified. I texted you the other day and I said, is it really as simple as it appears? And you said, yeah. So I've been playing it and I'm just like, yeah, this is fine. This is all right. And then I read a review the other day and they were like, it's another game that explains itself quite poorly. It's actually quite complicated, although the review didn't go on to explain how it was complex. But I mean, that seems to be a trend at the moment. The amount of times I've started a game and just been kind of left bemused because it hadn't explained itself very well. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is good. This is all right. But why the immense praise?
It's my next one, so I'll keep going. I wasn't really looking for complexity. I was really enjoying the moment-to-moment action when I play the game. I like the fact that every single level is completely different, and it gives you you have to start again with the power-ups. They only last about 30 seconds, and I just find it really frantic. There is, like you said, what you asked me was there only smart bomb and jump, where you can come back from the grid or whatever you want to call it, the tube, and shoot things for a second. There's also, you can lean, so when the baddies get onto your level, you can use the left left shoulder button to kind of lean your fire so you can shoot something next to you either side. So that's probably the other little system in there. But it's all about this. You get the high scores by keeping things at a distance. So it's all about kind of managing space and managing distance. But did you know that you can continue from where you died?
Oh yeah. I started from 15. I think I got up to, and then just die. So I found it immensely difficult.
Yeah. I just like seeing all the levels and the music. It just kind of gets me into that hypnotic zone. I just thought it was really good. I've just been playing a fair bit more, trying to rack up my scores. The leaderboards, as is now becoming fashionable, it seems, are a bit fucked. It takes forever to upload your score, and then by the time you've uploaded it, the person you're competing with's beaten it, and it's not particularly well integrated. You'd want a Geometry Wars style adaptive leaderboard that's happening in the game, really, but. Yeah, I think it's cracking. Really, I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love the way it sounds. Yeah, I do dig it a lot.
I like it. I'm surprised to see people giving it 9 out of 10 and everything. I'm going to play it some more, but I mean, I've put in just under a couple of hours, and it's fine. It's good. It's all right. I'm going to have to read some of these elaborate reviews. I think the one I read was very very short. I mean, I'm kind of surprised, but I'll look into it further at some point, I guess.
Yeah, the Eurogamer review is really good.
Okay, I didn't read that one.
Yeah, I read that one. Martin Robinson's one. I don't know. It was only ever going to be simple, I thought. So, yeah, I wasn't really craving complexity. I'm not craving complexity, but I am enjoying it a lot.
Okay, maybe I was expecting something other than what it is, but I'll keep playing it anyway. It's on the Vita, isn't it?
It is on the Vita. What a wonderful machine that is.
It's a bit of all right. Okay, my number 5 is Battlefield 4. It's probably far higher on my list. I was going to say that it's now approaching on Xbox One vague stability. Between us, when we're playing together, one of us has a crash to dashboard per session. I mean, it's still incredibly annoying if you've built up a load of points, and that never ceases to be irritating. But but as soon as I was when I made a note to say, it's actually quite stable now, we just had a series of crashes. There was a well-circulated Reddit post earlier in the week talking about how the PlayStation 4, now the PS4, and I think all formats now have Second Assault, the map pack that was originally on Xbox One,
right.
And apparently it's caused all manner of problems on PlayStation 4 again. So it's just this game is a nightmare, and it will never be anything other than that, I don't think. It wouldn't surprise me if Battlefield 5 has half the amount of content. And to be honest, I don't think anyone would complain.
Wish they'd ditch the campaign. Just ditch it.
Yeah, there's no one enjoys that campaign.
No.
Nobody, it's rubbish. I mean, really. There are a couple of things that are confusing. Domination, which is, a Call of Duty game type, is locked as being each way. So you do a map, takes 10 minutes, and then it's the same map again, but you start on different sides. But Domination, it doesn't really make any difference because the spawning in Battlefield is so fucking knackered anyway because you spawn all over the place.
Right.
There's no reason to do the same map twice, and yet it does it. Also, Rush. I've said this before. I said it many times. Rush on Battlefield 4 is broken because there are so many more tickets, so many more players, and they haven't raised the tickets. It's the same number of tickets for games that are almost twice as much people. It doesn't make any sense. A game of Rush is over in a heartbeat. I mean, if you have like 12 tickets left, and Battlefield 3, like, right, we've got to make a push. In this, 12 tickets can go in less than like 2 seconds. So I Googled it, and I found out that they've taken the ticket count down on Rush because it was causing crashes during the launch window, and they haven't found a way to implement added tickets without it being fucked. So, I mean, there were loads of. I mean, I googled this, and there were loads of pissed off people. I mean, there was. I was spoiled for choice when I was looking for like forum posts and information. But yeah, that's what DICE have said. Apparently, that's what I've been told multiple times. Yeah. It crashed during launch. They've tried to implement more tickets and they can't because it fucks the game up again.
Jesus Christ!
So it's just like Rush. The Rush is always my favourite mode. It's most people's favourite mode. Maybe it will never be in Battlefield 4. Who knows?
Amazing.
Yep.
Just never ceases to amaze. Just when you think that it can't amaze you anymore, it just kind of turns my stomach. All I ever wanted to do was love it.
Me too. Well, I still
Yeah,
do
you do,
love it
yeah.
because I love it, but it's not acceptable at all.
Fuck no. All right, my next one then. Where are we? Number 4.
That was my 5. So you're 4.
Yeah, okay. Is actually Res HD on Xbox 360. We talked. If you listen to the Q&A that we did at the end of episode 100, we both talked about Res, and I think it sort of both appeared in our top 3 games, and talked about sort of our first experiences with that game. So I kind of wanted to go back to it and played it for ages. So yeah, whacked on the nice headphones. Just went through a couple of levels, and it's still a flawless piece of work. It's still easily one of my favourite video games of all time. I wish that there was infinite levels so I could play it forever. Yet Child of Eden never really scratched the itch. It seemed like it was going to, but it just didn't. I don't know how. There's something perfect about Res, whether it's just the music, the design, that feeling of moving from stage to stage, and the music building and building and building and building and building, then hitting the peak and then going to the boss. Child of Eden, it felt like all the elements were there, but it never. Do you know what I mean? It never quite clicked in the same way for me.
Child of Eden, when it worked, was one of the few games that really made it. I mean, when I used Kinect for that, it felt like it worked really well, and you could tell. I mean, I played it on a pad as well, and I thought it was fine. I think the key is that the music's just not as good.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's his own band, isn't it? In Child of Eden, Genki Rockets. Yeah, that's right. Which are okay, but yeah, they're not Res music. I think you're right there.
Yeah, I mean, the Child of Eden is very upbeat and kind of poppy, whereas Res is quite dark.
It is quite dark, yeah.
And some of the tunes, I think it was number 2, the one that goes really hard at the end.
That's number 4, I think, isn't it? The one that goes really hard. 2's kind of the spacey one. Everything's purple. It's like a lot of. But yeah, amazing game. I actually was chatting to someone the other day, and he'd never heard of it because he was so much younger than us. He was like, I think the chap Sam White. Sam White, yeah, he calls himself Sam Wright. That's confusing. The other games journalist, I think he's like 10 years younger than me. So yeah, he just doesn't really have the same concept of Res. If you're listening, play that game. Anybody who hasn't played it,
just download it. I mean, if it would be incredible if it turns up in one of these flash sales.
Yeah, completely.
That Microsoft are doing, because it's an excellent port of the PS2 original as well. It really is. I mean, I'd pick this over the original even.
Oh, definitely, it's HD
and the sound as well. It's 5.1 surround. So yeah, I mean, play Res any which way. It's worth whatever it costs. I think it's a tenner.
Nerds will execute you as well for saying PS2 original when it's Dreamcast original, but. You Res nerds. You don't want to get on the wrong side of Res nerds.
Aren't we Res nerds?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, all right. But didn't it release simultaneously on both platforms?
No, it was Dreamcast first, I think, and then PS2 after.
Is that right? It seems such a Sony game.
It does seem like a Sony game, doesn't it? But it's a Sega game, and Sega Dreamcast. I'll have you know, Jesus Christ.
Yipes. Okay, all right. My number 4 is a game called Rambo, the video game on the Xbox 360.
This is why you tuned in. I tuned in.
It's also available on PlayStation 3, and it's out tomorrow. So it's out today if you're listening on Friday. I'd seen, as soon as I saw the first trailer for this, I thought, I'm going to buy that. Because the trailer very smartly pandered to 2 audiences, Rambo fans, of which I'm one. I'm not an apologist. I know how fucking awful they are. And fans of bad first-person shooters. So to those 2 audiences, or both, it's catnip, or twatnip, as I think it's fair to call it. I ordered it, and it was in the post yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to look for some footage, because I hadn't actually seen proper in-game footage. And I looked at it, and I realised it wasn't even an FPS. It's basically a light gun game. So I was in a bit of a frenzy, just like, why have I paid for this? It arrived. The first encouraging sign basically is the disc arrived. I put it into my Xbox 360. The install process took all of about 8 seconds, which was definitely an encouraging sign. Basically, the game, the framework is that there's a guy at a funeral, and it's like Rambo's dead, and he's talking you through Rambo's life, which is just, the script writers, their hands are tied, because it's basically a guy standing there going, and then there was this time that he killed a load of people, and then it'll cut back to him, killed a load of people. But it's a light gun game with long QTE sections where you reenact scenes from the movie. There is, as soon as you do the first level, there is a perk you can apply, which means that all of the QuickTime events cannot be failed. So if you really hate quick time events, there is that. But yeah, it's a light gun game. That one of the main systems is Wrath mode, which is when you build up a certain bar, you press A, and Stallone does that scream from Rambo 2, which apparently is the backbone of any Rambo game, and you get kills and then you can regain health. There's an approximation of Gears of War's active reload system. There are cover options here and there. So, I mean, there are some fairly decent ideas in it, and it's pretty entertaining. I have to say, for the first, the game from beginning to end, I'd say is probably about 3-4 hours long.
Right.
And there, I mean, like I said, there are nice bits. The first blood, it goes first blood and then 1, 2, 3. But during the first blood bits, you're shooting police and you get points for wounding them rather than killing them. The main problems with it are that the reticule never snaps to the centre, so because you're controlling the reticule with the thumbstick, so you're almost always aiming off screen when the level starts or when you're moving around. Checkpoints load very frequently, and it sort of with the active reload system, it fucks that up because there's a little pause, and then you screw up the active reload, which can involve you dying. Yeah. And something happened to me about halfway through the game. The sound effects died. I tried all manner of things, restarting the game, restarting my Xbox, blah, blah, blah. The only way I could fix it was uninstalling it from my hard drive and playing it from the disc. So if that happens to you, that's how to do it. Enemies fire at you constantly. So if you have no health and you pop out of cover, you're going to take bullets. So there's no way to strategize. If you have 0 health, you can't think, how am I going to get out of this? You just have to put your head up and get killed. It's a score attack game, so you basically have to learn everything. You have to learn when to reload, when enemies are going to appear, when to deploy this Wrath mode. So it's meant to be played multiple times, but there's perks and skill upgrades. Actually, one of the skill upgrades is quite cool because you gamble with active reload, so that if you nail active reload, you get more ammo, and if you screw it up, you get less. Or you can have it so headshots equal health. There are decent ideas in it. The animation is cheap and occasionally very goofy. I don't know if there was a rights issue of some kind, because it's arguable whether that's Stallone's likeness. Have you seen what he looks like?
I've seen the trailer, yeah.
He looks kind of like a pony's head merged with one human butt cheek. And some of his dialogue is not his, and some of the dialogues are from the film, but some of them are not. It's £30, and I basically all of these opinions were ruined by what happens in the final level. There's a difficulty spike in the final level, which led me to play the game for almost twice as long. So I saw the same cutscene probably approaching 100 times, maybe slightly more than that.
Jesus, why did you do it to yourself?
I don't know. I should have given up. But there is a horrendous difficulty spot. The kind of thing we shouldn't see in games now. The kind of thing that I was so angry at the time. I was so furious. I was going to contact the retailer I bought it from and insist that it was broken and that it should never be sold, and try and get my money back for it. Because I was so furious. It's one of the worst difficulty spikes in anything, because you keep doing it, you do the same thing over and over again, and eventually I did it. It wasn't about skill or anything. It was just pure luck. So it's impossible to recommend. I was really enjoying it, and then it did one of the worst things that any game's ever done to me. Something that you recall from if you played games 20 years ago, things that are just unforgivable now. Unforgivable. I was so angry. I wanted to sink the bloody thing then and there. And one thing that I will say is that because of how it looks and how it plays, it's a real shame that it's not like a Wii game. Yeah. Because it would be a cult Wii game, I think. But I don't think anyone's developing for the Wii anymore, are
they? Not as far as I know, no.
Okay. Well, anyway, Rambo the video game. I mean, I was enjoying it, but then again, I like shit action games like this. It's got the most appalling, stressful, badly designed. It's awful. The ending's awful, and it ruined it. It totally ruined it.
Better or worse, the ending, than that bit in Expendables 2?
Which bit?
The bit that drove you mad with the helicopter.
Oh God, I don't know. Oh well, this. I mean, I spent just under 2 hours of my life doing the same bit over and over again, watching the same cutscene. Hey, John, catch this, John. I mean, just watching it over and over again, going slowly mad. I don't know why. I just wanted to make, because what I was going to do is, if I couldn't do it, I was going to come on here and just fucking absolutely tear it to pieces and insist that nobody should buy it. And I was going to contact the retailer I got it from and get a refund, because it should not. It's awful what happens at the end. Truly.
I still kind of want to see it. I don't think I want to buy it, but
I'll put a video up on our YouTube
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, for sure. Awesome.
It's crap though. I mean, it's crap, but I like crap. But even if you share my love of crap, don't even investigate, because the end is just unforgivable, really.
Why does it exist in that way? It's so strange. Just that I know we're going to make a Rambo game, but we're going to make it a light gun game and release it on a console that's not really that many games being made for anymore. Just kind of release it for no reason. I just don't understand why it happened.
Because people like me were always going to buy it. That's probably why. Although I thought it was a first-person shooter, and it's not. They've been very clever, very crafty indeed about sort of hiding the fact that it's a sort of faux light gun game. But I mean, I wouldn't be as aggrieved if it was even 20 quid in a download, but 30 quid. I'm not doing justice to how enthusiastic I was until I got to the end, or how furious I was at the end. I'm just kind of like, don't bother. Do not bother. It's not worth your time.
Yeah. I would happily play an over-the-top game on iOS / Android. That'd be good.
If they port this, it would work great.
No, an over-the-top game.
Over the top?
The arm wrestling movie.
Oh, the arm wrestling film. God, that sounds like a boring video game.
No, it would be good.
I bet you there was one. I bet you there was a tie-in when it came out.
I bet there was, actually. Yeah.
Well, it might be worth a look.
Yeah. All right. If anybody knows of the over-the-top video game, please tweet us, because I want to know about that, and I'll have forgotten by the time I wake up tomorrow. Talking of boring video games, my number 3 is World of Tanks, a game that I've had to play a fair bit more of because I was producing quite a large piece of work for it. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It is a boring game, but 70 million people play it, so a lot of people do like it. If you go and read the World of Tank forums and drill down into the specifics of every tank, and you're like me, you'll drive yourself fucking insane, because I don't understand how people can communicate like that, why they care. I just don't understand. I don't think I've ever... Sometimes I think I have an obsessive personality, and then I see something like that and realise that I have probably the exact opposite of obsessive personality. The game itself, if you've not played it, I'm talking about the 360 version. I'd say it's probably worth a download, just because it's there and it's free, and you might be one of the 70 million. So it's big ass tank battles. Fairly simple controls, very simple controls, and fairly simple systems. That's probably the most appealing thing about it. Once you get onto the battlefield, the stuff outside of the battlefield can be a bit confusing. There's sprawling tech trees and upgrades and stuff. Nothing too daunting for what is a Russian fucking tank simulator. It's not as daunting as it seems, and it does feel like a console game on 360, pretty much. But the game itself it's fine. It's fun to shoot the tanks and watch them blow up. And the systems are simple. You move around. I talked about this before. You move your tank around. You've got the different classes and whatnot. And you can spot enemy tanks using a sniper scope, and then you just shoot them. You have to lead. They're moving from left to right. You have to lead the shot. And then very specific parts of the tank cause different damage. So you want to aim for the back or the sides. You can take out the tracks and stuff like that and stop it dead. You're trying to capture the enemy base, but most matches just end with you blowing up all the opposition tanks because you only got one life per tank. And if you manage to have a good run and take down 3 tanks or something like that and survive to the end of the game, it is fun. It's perfectly fine. It's slow as fuck. It is fundamentally boring, but because it is free and it isn't flashing up adverts and stuff like that. It's doing things to try and get you to pay money, like saying how much more you could have earned and what have you if you've got a premium subscription, and tempting you with other tanks. But it really isn't. I've talked about this before. It really isn't that unpleasant. It's actually quite affable, and I don't begrudge it a minute of success. I think that's. I said it again. I'm repeating myself, but if you're going to do free to play, do it like these guys, because guess what? They've got 70 million players. It's pretty much the biggest game in the world, and it's fucking fine. It's fine. And do you know what? There wasn't a World of Tanks game, and they made one. That's why it's not like they try to go, okay, let's make another Call of Duty, or they try to let's make another MOBA. At the time, there's like, we're going to make a fucking game about tanks, and we're going to give it away for free, and we're going to become unbelievably rich.
Do you know anybody that plays World of Tanks?
No.
I do wonder if it's a very specific crowd, I imagine.
A very large and specific crowd, yeah.
But was it war enthusiasts or something? I mean, I don't know anybody, any young or not so young. I don't know anybody.
I don't know anybody who plays World of Tanks, no. But I just guess, I think it scales quite well, so you don't have to have... I was trying to think, because my dad used to occasionally play games anything to do with war. I don't think he'd play this, though, because he only likes strategy games.
But there is an element of strategy to it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking like, those games where you'd have a map and it would have hexagons in it, and you just, I don't know, fuck that guy. Anyway, but tanks, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you go into those forums, even if you just go into the Wikipedia, the World of Tanks wiki, and you will see the madness, the fucking madness. Everybody's really nice there, I have to say, to each other on the forums, and they're talking about, there'll be questions like, which is the best heavy tank for US or whatever, and the standard questions, and then they go into specifically why, and it's difficult to follow because all the tanks are just a couple of letters and numbers, and they all sound exactly the same. But if you imagine going onto a COD forum, and everybody would just be utterly disgusting, whereas in here, this is a nice community, really.
It's because they're all middle-aged university professors.
There can't be. There has to be a lot of kids in there. You can tell by the way a lot of it's written that they're young people.
Okay.
But I just, people like tanks, don't they, I guess? Some people. Enough people. 70 million users it has. 1.2 million concurrent players. That's insane.
If we had a TV program, I'd go and hunt some of these people down, just out of interest. I'm really interested in what kind of... in a community that large that I don't know anything about. I think that's quite interesting.
It is quite interesting, yeah. Just to see especially who spends that much time, because it's not got the esports thing like League of Legends, so I can understand that, and that's quite an immediate game as well. It's very gamey. This is, I guess, I don't know. It is actually quite interesting, yeah.
Because it is really an action game as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's a slow action game, but it is an action game. I mean, I guess if you're out there, if you listen to the podcast and you do play World of Tanks, and I don't mean, you've had a couple of goes on 360 or whatever, but you're someone who really plays a fuckload of World of Tanks, get in touch on the Twitter or something, because I would be very interested to see. It's quick because I get the appeal from playing it. I mean, I played loads now, but I wouldn't choose to play any more myself. I don't know. I don't know. This is why we want to know. So do get in touch if you do. I got to assume someone does.
Or if you know anyone that does.
Yeah, exactly,
knowing about one person who plays it is more information than I have at the moment.
Yeah.
So there you go. World of Tanks. Okay, well, my number 3 is the Lego Movie: the video game on the Xbox 360. It's as usual available in all manner of other formats. This is TT Games, obviously, but it's also TT Fusion, and they're the team that made Lego City Undercover.
Oh, okay,
right?
they're in different, just around the corner or something, I think. Still,
I mean, it's a sort of co-production, but for some reason I haven't played Lego City Undercover, but for some reason I thought TT Fusion was like the B squad, and an incredibly lazy assumption because I was wrong. This is unsurprisingly another really, really excellent Lego game.
Oh, that's good to hear. I lazily assumed that it wouldn't be because it was just a tie-in.
Yeah, I mean, the start is awesome. I mean, there's this really funny Bimani game at the beginning, and as usual, humour is at the forefront. The difficult thing with this is that I think they use the actual script.
Right.
So I think there are actual scenes from the film, and I can't be sure. I've looked into it a little bit, and from what I can gather, there are elements of the film in it. In the cutscenes, but there's also some new stuff. So there's a mixture of new stuff and stuff from the film, because it is of exceptionally high quality. The first hour there are some hilarious bits in it, and it's a difficult case because if you haven't seen the film, there are spoilers in the game. The plot's not important, but there are jokes that are so funny that I'm sure they have to be in the film. On the other hand, I remember when I used to buy a tie-in of anything when I was a kid. This is actually an authentic extension of the film, which is quite rare because normally the video game has nothing to do with the film. So if you want to kind of relive a bit of the film, you can't ever do that. So it's unique in that regard. But if you are planning on seeing the film, I'd probably swerve the game until after you have. And like Lego Marvel Superheroes, if you're playing on co-op, make sure you change it to fixed vertical rather than the dynamic camera, because it's such a busy, vibrant game that it just gets confused. So the twisting, camera options when there's two of you you can just sometimes it will just. It's a complete headache, and it's not worth the trouble. So make sure you change that. It looks really, really terrific, even on Xbox 360. The production values are pretty much sky high. There are a few sort of minor issues. I mean, in terms of the gameplay, there's this bit where there's a shoot 'em up bit where both reticules are red, so you can't tell them apart. And character switching is still a bit weird. You kind of bounce in between two, and then if you have to bring up the character wheel if you want to move between any more than that. It's kind of strange, but these are kind of oversights rather than problems. They're things that happen sort of fleetingly and then you forget about. There's a very healthy supply of really big action set pieces in this. So in addition to the usual wandering around and solving environmental puzzles, there's like car chases. I mean, there's just big action scenes the whole way through it, and there's a great new system which I'm sure will be used in other Lego games from now on, where you basically get shown a big picture. It's like a Lego diagram, and then you have to decide quickly which pieces are missing. It's like interactive Lego. It's like you have the instructions, and then what's missing here, bang, 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 and then the quicker you solve them, the more studs you get.
Okay,
that's really cool. That's a really neat idea. There is also this master builder thing where you drag and drop. It's a new game system. I mean, they're continuously bringing new things to the table. I thought these were going to get stale by now, but this is another really, really good one. I do really like the series, but this is another. I mean, it does help that it's consistently laugh out loud funny, but then some of the other ones were too. So I don't think it's just affiliation with the movie. There are a couple of bits where it feels more like a single-player game. So, in all Lego games, one character can access a certain area, and then the other person has to wait for a minute or so. But here, those sections go on for a little bit long, so there are points where we just you just have to stand around and wait for the other player to do something. Because if it's single-player, you can just switch, and it doesn't make any difference. But on co-op, only a couple of moments where that happened. But yeah, I mean, it's just totally excellent. I mean, I was expecting for this to be the drop-off point, but it's not. It's another absolutely terrific game.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really funny as well.
Well, I must say the Lego City Undercover is genuinely funny throughout. The script is very, very funny. So whether or not it's all direct lifts from the movie or whatnot, there's definitely funny people over there. No,
that's what I mean. The script for Lego Batman 2 with Batman, Robin, and Superman, that three-way, brilliant. I mean, hilarious. So yeah, I mean, I've no doubt that the movie's good, but even without that affiliation, the game's just hilarious anyway.
That's cool.
Very good.
Is that on next gen as well?
It's on fucking everything.
Yeah. All right. I quite fancied it actually, but I do want to see really the film as well. It does look funny.
Yeah.
It looks tremendous, in fact. All right then. Yeah, that sounds good. My number 2 is a game that kind of came on as a surprise this week. I wasn't expecting to be able to play this, but ended up being asked to review it on short notice. It's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Wii U. I mean, you know what it is. It is the sequel to Donkey Kong Country. What the fuck is it called?
Returns.
Donkey Kong Country Returns. It is the sequel to Donkey Kong Country Returns, and it's basically the exact same game. If you were to give it an overview of the story, some like penguins are on a frozen iceberg and they come to where Donkey Kong lives, and then I think they might want to steal the bananas. And then they get it's a bit cold. It doesn't matter. But there's a few cutscenes in there actually quite funny. They only last a few seconds. But the game it's 2D platform game. Players Donkey find his friends in barrels they can ride on your shoulders. This time you've got Diddy, Cranky, and Dixie. They all basically do the same thing. Diddy has a jetpack that lets you do a slightly longer float. Dixie's hair spins that lets you Yoshi style like jump and then pull you up a tiny bit further. Cranky's slightly different. He can, when you jump, you can press the button again and he'll like spike down like a pogo stick, and you can use that to bounce on spikes and stuff. They're basically mainly only there as power-ups for your health, because you've got 2 hearts normally, 4 when you've got one of the extra monkeys on your back. But the game itself is just very, very well made 2D platforming. At first, the first few levels are kind of a bit plodding. They're quite easy, and I was going, this is just a bit. I've done this so many times. But then, in all fairness, maybe just as early as 3 or 4 levels into the first world, it starts ramping up the variety. You get on a rhino, the animation of the rhino's face just cracked me up the whole time I was on him. Minecart levels, but just done beautifully. Stuff where, because they've got the extra firepower of the Wii U, and yeah, going back actually, the Wii U, whatever it is, underpowered, whatever, Nintendo seems to be able to get it to sync, because this game is absolutely stunning to look at. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's completely comparable to anything on next gen. It's doing its own thing, but it's 1080p, 60 frames. Donkey himself looks amazing. Looks so fluffy. There's a cutscene at the beginning, and like, wow, if only the game could look like that. And then it does. The game does actually look like that. I haven't played Mario, but this could. I've heard other people say this as well. This is the best looking game I've seen on Wii U. It's a gorgeous game. And the music, it's been done by David Wise, who did the music for the original game. And it's just every level seems to have a new tune. There's underwater levels that have, I could listen to the soundtrack on its own as an album easily. Brilliant. It's not all just like monkey noises and tribal drums. There's some truly brilliant music in there. But going back to the game itself, you know what it is. Everyone knows what it is. Because they've got the extra horsepower of the Wii U, there's sections where the camera will shift and it will switch to either behind the guys or like a sort of 45-degree angle. Every time it does it, it's really nice. It does it smoothly. It's always does it. There's kind of an element of surprise to it, so you know it always feels kind of audacious when it does it. But most of the time, platforming, hard as fuck. Very tricky technical platforming with heavy avatar, a much heavier avatar than like Rayman or Mario. And just along the same lines as Donkey Kong Country Returns, really. High quality game. Massive difficulty spikes in the bosses, though. There's a boss at the end of each world, there's 6 worlds. The bosses are cool, they look amazing, they're funny, the animation's next level, but the difficulty spikes, most of the bosses have like 3 stages where by the time it gets to the 3rd form, as it were, they're, fucking hard. Like each of the bosses, I think from after the first boss, which is hard enough, I must have done a good 30 40 tries on a lot of those bosses. You're ready to snap your Wii U gamepad in half and put your foot through the TV. I would have rather. I mean, I'm up for a challenge, and I love the challenge of the levels. The bosses are just a bit like, you're like, all right, now I get it. You decided to just come out and fuck me, basically. But I quite happily just go back and just play the really tricky platforming levels. What else is there to say? There is tons of secrets. It's a Nintendo platform game. There's a world map, Mario World style, Donkey Kong Country style, loads of secrets, hidden exits, loads of stuff to collect on each level. Just class. The whole game just exudes class. Retro Studios is an amazingly talented bunch, and while some, including me, would probably like to see them do something truly revolutionary as opposed to just a Donkey Kong sequel, Donkey Kong sequel is what we got, and it's bloody lovely. It really is lovely. One final interesting thing about it, though, I actually wrote about this on Videogame.com. It turns off the gamepad completely, so it's just a controller. And could you imagine a Wii U launch game being allowed to do that? I certainly couldn't. So yeah, I don't know if that's just a sign of things to come. If Nintendo have just gone, fuck it, let's just make an HD GameCube and just see what we can do with it. Because if they have, I'm all for that. Because it was just weird to see it just fade. It's on when you first turn it on, and then you choose your viewing option, whether you play on TV or pad. And then if you choose TV, the pad just goes off. And I was like, fucking hell. I've just got this huge slab in my hand for no reason.
I wonder if it's too late in the day for them to relaunch the machine without the gamepad.
Yeah, I don't know, because I questioned that in the piece that I wrote. But then what do how do you appease people like Ubisoft who've made games specifically with that in mind, like Rayman and Zombie U and stuff? And yeah, I don't know all the technicalities or something like that. I mean, is it worth fucking off partners? I don't know. Can it even be made? I mean, is the OS so intrinsically part of the gamepad because you control the OS with the gamepad, don't you, on the touchscreen? I just don't know. I don't know.
Did you play it with the gamepad?
I did, yeah.
Off?
I mean, I could have, yeah. I mean, when it turns off, you can actually play on the gamepad or on the TV. So I mean, in many ways, I'd rather like that than it was just on both, like it is in Mario, because I don't know, it's just better just for battery life as much as anything else. But I'd imagine it would probably be better on Pro Controller. It's nice to play it properly though, because that was the thing I didn't like about the Wii one. It was playing it on the, you had to shake the thing, didn't you, to roll?
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have to do that anymore. It's just proper human controls now, which is much better.
I thought the Wii remote controls were brilliant. I can't believe I bought Rambo instead of Donkey Kong.
That was pretty stupid.
When everyone was going, oh God, Retro making another Donkey Kong, I was like, that's exactly what I want. I think I always preferred Donkey Kong Country to Mario World.
Right.
And I think Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii is in my top 5 platformers of all time, so I'm going to have to play it at some point. In fact, I'm probably going to get it before the end of the weekend, because the fact that I bought Rambo instead of this is just like makes me want to throw up all over myself.
That is criminal.
Yeah,
it's pretty much criminal. You won't be disappointed. It is everything you could want it to be. It also has a couple of, one in particular, easy level of the year candidate. Just wanted to fucking pull people into the room, but there was no one here.
Yeah.
But just smashing stuff, and it does. It looks great, man. It looks so good.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to wait. They deserve. Any excuse to give Nintendo a bit of wedge is worth doing. Okay, my number 2 is a game called Strider on the Xbox One. It's also available on PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, and I think PC.
It seems to be out in everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Strider. I mean, did you play the original?
I never did. No, I'm aware of it, aware of the character, and aware that it's supposed to be good. But yeah, I'd never played it.
I saw a friend of mine when I was really young had an Amstrad CPC computer, and he was playing Strider, and at the time I just remember it was the least disappointing game I'd ever played, because I looked at it just thinking that looks amazing, and when I played it, it was amazing. I can't remember much about it beyond that. But this remake Redux is really, really quite good, very good in fact. The combat is extraordinarily fast and strangely soapy. You have soapy, just kind of slippery, but you have intense control over it, but you feel like you're sliding around the place. And you can be balletic if you like. You can dodge bullets quite easily. Once you've grasped the controls, I mean, there's a slide move, a double jump and stuff, so you can sort of bounce around avoiding bullets if you want. But the idea is to rush every single enemy you see. So you're sprinting along, hacking up enemies as fast as you can move through the levels. You're basically hacking people up. It's a game that's like almost been constructed. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be insane speed runs of this on YouTube in no time, because it's such a fast-paced game. There are elements of Mark of the Ninja just in some of the skills you have and some of the level design, and it kind of looks like those Capcom reboots of Bionic Commando, the 2D remakes.
Yeah, the rearmed ones.
Yeah, I didn't care for those as games much, but they looked very glossy and sort of metallic. It's also not one thing I really like about it is that it's not in the slightest bit evasive about its difficulty. It's perfectly pitched. So if you start and you find it hard in the first 5 minutes on normal, that's how hard you'll find it. Go back and start on easy. It doesn't piss around. What you see is what you get. So if you start it, and I think you can change midway through. I'm not 100% sure, but it starts at a certain pitch, and there are difficult bits, but by and large, that's what you get. It's not perfect because the checkpointing is a bit uneven, and it's deliberately old school in that, for example, if you take a long detour to go and pick up a collectible and then you die, it doesn't save the fact that you've picked up the collectible, so you have to go and do that again when you come back. The world is really nice looking. Really, I played on Xbox One. It's a really nice looking game, but it's this futuristic fascist state, and there's all these like baby blue lasers and red metal. I mean, it looks really, really pleasant, but it's not original. Especially on next gen, though. I mean, I don't want to undersell it. It looks really stunning. I mean, it's just a real sort of, instantaneous proof about how good sort of downloadable titles are going to be on next gen. Some of the bosses are really, really difficult, but they're so well designed that I never got annoyed with them. Kind of similar to how I spoke about Donkey Kong Country, the Wii one, months ago or years ago, whenever it was. There were some really intense difficulty spikes in it, but it's so hard to be annoyed when also the controls are so taut that it's hard to begrudge the game when you die, because it's so well designed and you're in complete control. I don't know why it grabbed me as much as it did, because I really am done with this whole Metroidvania structure. And yet it sells it really well. It does it really well. It's very, very snappy. You earn things quite quickly, and it moves through. Everything about it's at speed, high speed. Bang, bang, bang. I bet there's going to be speed runs of this where people do it in like an hour and a half. And yeah, really, really quite something. Worth every penny. I mean, it's Double Helix, who've just come out of nowhere with Killer Instinct and this.
I know. Yeah,
two absolutely.
They're horror shows that they released before.
Exactly. But I mean, so many amazing studios have gone bust over the last few years. They've probably taken on board some really, really talented people from other places. But yeah, Strider, it's really, really good, I'm telling you.
That sounds like my cup of tea. There's no doubt about that. Running full speed, ninja, hacking people up.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I'm bordering on loving it. There's just a couple of sort of slightly slack. The checkpointing stuff is really really bothersome. But if you're going to pick it up, you're not going to get it on. You'll get it on PS4, won't you?
I don't know. I was thinking about it as you were talking about it, and I thought it'd be nice to have something to play on this big lunk that I've got sitting there. But I don't want it to be worse than the PS4 version.
Is there any word on what?
I don't know. I was actually going to ask you that if you'd heard anything.
I'd be very surprised, because it looks like $1 million fucking on Xbox One. So I'd be very surprised if there's any differences. They can only be minor.
Were you going to ask something else about
what? Strider?
Yeah, you said you're going to get it on PS4, which implies.
I was going to say no, because there's we'd never do it anyway. There's speed run clocks and stuff, and you can just see how there's leaderboards and whatnot. But
if I was 15 and had all the time in the world.
Yeah, we never give a shit about that stuff anyway. So
true.
That was that.
That does sound good. Yeah, I almost bought that. That was the game I was looking for in the PS4 store, and then decided to buy an Xbox One instead. But that does sound fucking good, mate. That does really sound good.
It's good. I really, really like it. I like it a hell of a lot.
I love fast things, but I don't like fast cars. That's weird. Anyway, okay, my number one's pretty damn fast, and it sounds like it's your number one as well. Stand by for motherfucking Titanfall.
Yeah.
So I've actually played it on both PC and Xbox One. Maybe 3 games on Xbox One, 4 games, and a ton of games on PC on the Vita. Basically, from Friday, I think I got it. Yeah, on the Friday yesterday, got hold of a beta code and downloaded it on PC, and was just instantly from the tutorial and then like minutes into the first match, just grabbed, absolutely hooked, blown away. To be honest, I could not believe how much fun I was having, how well made this game is, how unbelievably exciting it is, all of the moments that were happening in it. The combination of the parkour when you're the pilot, as they're called, the combinations of the free running parkour with the gunplay, with the Titans, everything flowing into each other, systems layering upon systems, in an established template, online multiplayer shooting, but genuinely doesn't feel like anything else. People have asked me, what's it like? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like COD, like meets Halo, but it's not really. It doesn't really feel like kind of like Mirror's Edge, but not really. It's a lot smoother than that. And remember Brink, but no, it's not. It's much better than that. And it's not. It's just, it really does. It's a huge kick up the arse to this genre. And this is coming from 2 maps, 3 game types, few unlocks here and there. But like you said last week, it feels complete. The beta felt complete. I'm gutted it's over actually, but I know it's only a few weeks until the game comes out. I've probably got a lot more to add to it when you chat about it as well, because it's just, even thinking about it just makes me excited. I'll probably rattle off a few of the cool moments that I had in it as well. But just talking about the different versions quickly, the PC version is fantastic, I have to say. My PC is a thoroughly decent PC, but it's not like one of those Titan beast fucking high top end monsters or anything like that, but it was able to run Titanfall super smooth on almost the highest settings. Game looks great, ran great. It was actually a bit of a shame that I played it on PC, so when I went to Xbox One, obviously the resolution is low, everybody knows that. I'm not too bothered about that. It's a shame it doesn't look quite as crisp, but it doesn't matter. But there were some noticeable frame rate and screen tearing issues on the Xbox One version that just weren't on the PC version, which if I'd only played the Xbox One version, I doubt I'd have even noticed them, because they're not. I had a couple of moments where it was like 4 Titans on screen where it did actually go a bit choppy, but apart from that, they're small. I was just noticing because I played, fair few hours on PC, considering it's only a beta, like good few hours, and then suddenly it wasn't feeling as smooth. But on the flip side of that, I was doing far better on playing on a pad on Xbox One. So whatever, I will be playing on Xbox One. But it's nice to know that the PC version is well optimized and has been treated appropriately, given that it's a console exclusive. But yeah, damn, Titanfall. I know people. That fucking piece today. You said on Eurogamer. They obviously, the guys over there are like us. They've just got excited about this game that always looked good, but it's like, okay, it's another online shooter. And so they've written some nice editorials about it. Christian wrote about the gun because he got fascinated by that. Tom Bramwell today wrote about just like it's a perfectly fine piece. If you're jaded like me, don't be. Here's why. And it's got nearly 600 comments of people calling it an advert. And it's like, what do you want? What do you want from? Do you want everybody to be cynical and hacky and pick everything apart, or do you want when someone gets passionate and fired up about something to write about it? I know I want. It's not a fucking advert. It's just someone getting pumped about games. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Why do you play them? Why else? Just do something else. Go play football or go and fucking kick a lamppost with your shin. Go and have some fun. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of talk about that at the moment, just how everyone's accusing everyone and how everyone says... someone... I don't know. I don't want to get into all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I've been playing it non-stop. My friends, I got to a point where I said, I want to stop playing this because I don't want to exhaust the possibilities of the maps and I don't want to overdo it. I kind of wish I hadn't because I have the intense urge to play it now and it's finished. My friends didn't hold back at all. They were playing it until the last second they could.
Really?
I haven't noticed any of the technical issues, obviously, but I think if you play the PC version and then go to Xbox One, that was inevitably going to happen.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a shame because it feels like it. I mean, the spec for spec, the Xbox One, my Xbox One and my PC are pretty much the same. So it's just a bit. It's like, no, come on, Xbox One, you can do better than that. But it is the beta. The final version is supposed to have a slightly higher resolution, and it's honestly, I am nitpicking. It's not a real problem. It's just a little bit annoying.
Yeah, it's an incredibly clever game. Playing it more and more, just realise. I mean, it's a strategic. You have to be, especially last Titan standing. That's an intense strategy game.
Definitely.
And playing it with a team of my friends, we were smashing the crap out of anyone because there are so many different techniques you can use, and we haven't even got all of the perks and sort of tools unlocked yet. Have you heard about this? I keep hearing people say that they wish the AI sort of grunts weren't in it.
I've heard that, and I've also heard that they'd rather it was just pilot. You could have a mode where it was just pilots, so COD basically, just COD with a little wall running. But
a little, yeah, that's a stretch. I mean, to be honest, that would be great. But I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
But that thing about basically, if you don't know, when you kill a grunt, these AI soldiers who look like the other players, but they're just artificial intelligence. When you kill them, it speeds up the amount of time it's going to take to build your Titan, but you appear on the reticule, the targeting, the map of other. It's a brilliant trade-off.
Yeah, brilliant trade-off.
You give your position away, but people saying that it's nothing. I was like, no, it's a very, very clever idea.
Yeah, completely. And it also doubles up to help people who aren't as good have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very much. I like the way that speed running gives you free running gives you a speed boost. So when you're sprinting into combat at the beginning, everyone's kind of bouncing around. And at first, I just thought people were showing off, but it's like you have to do it because you have to get to sort of a decent vantage point quickly. I also like to my knowledge, this has never been done before, but there's a grace period at the start of a match because when I was playing with the team of my friends, we had different loadouts for everything. So we had different Titan loadouts, different pilot loadouts, and I started again going, oh, damn, I've put the wrong stuff on. But for about 5 or 6 seconds, I just changed it right there and then. Done. Normally, that kind of thing's locked off after you start the game, which is what. As soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh god, it's going to annoy me because I've got a sort of a Titan built for killing pilots on Last Titan Standing." I really also like at the end of a game of attrition, the losing team have just a way to get one up on the winners by getting to their ship They give you like 30 seconds to get to the ship. That's brilliant. I mean, it's completely pointless. You've lost, but God, it's the most important thing in the world when you're trying to go and get on it. It's honestly, it's
when you do it, you zip up. I think every single time I've just given it the double fingers. Every single time that I've managed to escape on that ship without even realising I was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant idea because it's pointless, but God damn it, I'm getting on that ship with and that scramble, those sort of final rucks are always absolutely outstanding. In the interest of balance, I should explain. One friend of mine was completely nonplussed by it.
Really?
He said it was quite fun. He liked the on-foot stuff, but he found the Titan battles repetitive. And I just said, you've got to. He's not someone we played with. I said you've got to strategize. When we all had different loadouts. We all had different kit. And just toying around with stuff. And, the other thing is that if someone jockeys you and jumps on your Titan, it tells you, and you can jump out and kill them, or you can be destroyed. But if you've got friends around you, just go, quick, he's on my head, and they can shoot you off at no, and the bullets don't hurt your Titan. So, it's a really, really intense strategic team game. So you have to play it like that. It's more or less Battlefield in a lot of respects.
Yeah, I heard someone using a tactic whereby, I can't remember exactly how it worked. They were, rodeoing on someone else, on an enemy Titan, and then so it gets held in place, and then their teammate would call their Titan, so it landed on the Titan that's being rodeoed on, and then blown up.
Yeah, that happens. You see that happen a lot. If you summon your Titan, it will just crush anything that's underneath it. Another, because what's the shield called? I've forgotten that sort of.
The Vortex Shield.
Vortex Shield. If you can swap that out for this sort of not gas, like an EMP.
Yeah,
your suit emits EMP, so if anyone jockeys you, you can just press it and it will kill them. But what we used to get into, we'd get into one of those sort of pathways at the side on, I can't remember which map it was, and it'd be basically 2v2. I'd steam in, whack one of them, they'd come in for a punch, I'd deploy that, boost out, and then you could just see it frazzling them, standing there, while all the while a couple of our other mates are going around and flanking them. I mean, it's a glorious team game. It really is. Last Titan Standing is what it's all about at the moment. I mean, all of the modes are fantastic, but that's the one that really grabs us.
I've only played that a few times, and I did start to get into it. Actually playing on Xbox One, because I started the people that I was with, the randoms, we just clicked straight away. So two people went left instinctively, two people went right. We started smashing it up. Whereas before that, it was all a bit higgledy-piggledy and people just trying to shoot each other. No, I didn't know what I was doing either. But I love the hardpoint mode, the domination mode. Yeah, just hanging on one point and using your Titan as a guardian outside, and then hopping back on, and there's the possibilities. And then the moments, like one that I can remember clearly was, I've had loads of amazing things happen, but just being in my Titan, getting into a huge scrap, and then you have one at that perk where it's like a nuclear eject. So if you eject it, your Titan nukes itself and does some area of effect damage. Did that as the guy was trying to hit me. The other Titan was trying to hit me. Shot up into the air. I watch it below. It nukes, kills the other guy, and then I switch to my anti-Titan weapon, which is the rocket launcher. As I'm falling, target the other Titan and blow him up, and then just land on the ground. And I've got like 2 dead Titans around me. Fucking amazing. Stuff like using the smart pistol, which auto headshots the grunts, but takes. And I heard a lot of people complaining about that. Oh, you can't put that. It's a noob gun. It's like, try using it in a one-on-one fight with a pilot. Yeah, just try. You're going to lose. So no, it's not a noob gun. It's just it's actually quite difficult to use it if you want to get a decent score. Anyway, wall running, headshotting grunts like you're in fucking Wanted or something. Bursting through a window, diving back out, rodeo, and then jumping out of the window and landing on a Titan, rodeoing it, killing it, jumping off that. This is all in one movement without touching the floor. Landing on the far building and then running to the dropship. Forget about it. It's a joke of a game. I can't wait for it to come out. I cannot wait for it to come out. I didn't think that I would be enthused by an online shooter ever again, and this is just. There were times, I think I texted you this at the time. I was thinking, I honestly don't know if I need to play any other games now. I just think I'll just play this one. I'll just be one of those people that just plays one game. That obviously won't actually happen, but I'm so sure that this is going to grab me for a long, long time.
Yeah. It does. You do come out of it with war stories. I mean, the one that I remember is that I was in. The game had ended. I was in a Titan, and so was one of the other guys, and it was their they had 30 seconds to get to the ship. We were having this mad battle. We both blew each other up. We both ejected. As we flew up into the air, I shotgunned him in the face and then sprinted because all of my mates were trying to take out the ship because you can destroy the ship. I sprinted over to where the ship was, and once if you're trying to get onto the ship, one thing to do is to hide cloaked if you can and then jump on at the last second. As I landed on the launch pad, someone hit me. I deployed that sort of replenishing, instead of the invisibility, I've got that replenishing thing. I spun around, pop, shot the two guys in the head with a shotgun. I mean, just amazing. All the while you're sort of bouncing around like a demon. I saw an article. I didn't read it. It was on a website. It was called something along the lines of, "Is Titanfall the first truly next-gen game?" I don't know really what that means. On the one hand, I suppose you couldn't really call it that because the sort of each part has been done before. Yeah. It's an assembly of things that have been done before. But on the other hand, when I was prepping my list for last week's episode 100, in the wake of having played Titanfall, I was just looking at it like, Warface? World of Tanks? What is this? I mean, it rendered almost all of that stuff like... It might as well have been on the PlayStation 2. I was just like, I'm not playing that. Yeah. So in that sense, the fact that it's rendered games that were totally acceptable at the beginning of last week seemed like almost unbelievably antiquated and just kind of disgusting. In that sense, yeah, I mean, it would be fair to call it the first truly next-gen game. Yeah, definitely.
Very excited. Yeah. Very, very excited.
Did you read the Digital Foundry breakdown of the... as
much as I could handle. I can only ever skim read those things. Yeah, but I did.
Yeah, I kind of skimmed it as well, but I was reading the comments, and some of the comments were just mental. There was one guy, a very, very healthily upvoted comment. A guy said, the stats figures Titanfall versus stats figures Killzone. I'm glad I bought a PlayStation. I was like, I don't understand why you'd play a game just because it looks nice. I like things that look nice. Killzone, the only reason I got to the end of it is because it looks very nice. But to say that's a deciding factor, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you play video games if like the deciding factor is how good something is? That doesn't make any sense. That's one of the most mental things I've ever read. I mean, Titanfall is one of the most exciting games of any genre. I've played for fucking... I can't remember the last time I felt that excited about a new IP.
No.
And Killzone is just... It's a self-regarding buffoon that just... It has absolutely jack shit going on between its very pretty earrings. But if you want that, go ahead. I'll fucking stick with the technically inferior machine playing fucking Titanfall all day.
Yeah, hell yeah. And the PC version looks fucking glorious anyway. And you can play it on 4K, which there's a video of one of the big YouTubers playing it on 4K, and you can ramp it up to like 1440p or something, even on a normal one, and it looks outstanding.
It kind of makes me wish I had a PC, really.
Yeah, but what can you do? What can you do? I mean, the difference isn't huge. If they do manage to ramp up the resolution a bit more before the final version, that would be cool as well. But even if they don't, it doesn't matter because the game's
I'm interested to see what it looks like on 360.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I can see it looking not a huge amount worse,
Yeah, I mean, as long as if it runs at the same speed, I mean, I'd say if you don't have an Xbox One, the 360's hopefully not going to be too much of a...
No, because it is only 6-on-6, and, it should... There's no reason why it shouldn't be still a very good game on 360, I don't think. Hope so, anyway, because there'll be a lot of people trying to buy it on 360, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, the more people that can play it, the better.
Completely. I want to be playing it right now, but I can't.
Same here.
All right, well, that's it for us. 101 in the can. Thank you very much for listening. As always, make sure you interact with us and talk to us on Twitter, at John Denton, at Chet Roivas, at Chet and Johns. And the YouTube channel is Chet and John on YouTube. Any feedback on anything, always welcome. iTunes reviews, any of that stuff. Thank you very much for listening. I think that's about it. Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Take it easy. See you next week.
Coming out of your engine. Looks like it's falling. location now. Okay. Full dog. Okay, I'm having a more serious problem now, okay?
For some reason, last week, I got the inkling that you had missed off a couple of questions.
No.
But you had, you missed off one.
Did I?
Yeah, only one.
What was it?
It was a guy, he said, have you got any great rock band stories?
Did I miss that?
Yeah. But I was just going to say, because I can't think, I mean, I played, there were so many nights playing rock band, there must be some, but I can't think of any. There's only one I could think of. So I'll tell it now very briefly, and I'll stick it at the end of the podcast. When I always, you didn't like Guitar Hero 3, did you?
Not so much, no.
Yeah, I was always more of a Guitar Hero person than I liked Rock Band, but it didn't grab me in the same way that Guitar Hero did. So when they announced Guitar Hero 4, aka World Tour, with that band set up with that wicked looking set of drums and everything, I didn't sleep. When I used to email you pictures like, look at it, and like, the night before it came out, I didn't sleep. I was so excited for that. And so I got everyone round. We had like a Rock Band party with this new setup. Although it's awful because the sound didn't output in like 5.1 or something. It sounded like fucking mono. But yeah, we got all this, and some schmuck thought it'd be a great idea to take the cymbals and twist them, rotate them 180 degrees, thereby ripping out the wires that held them into the rest of the unit. Remember that?
Was that me?
So you remember? Well, I just got it. I had it for an hour, and you're like, "Hooray, I'm going to twist the cymbals round," and then the thing was fucked, and you're like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll sort you out," and it's never happened.
Well, I did, didn't I? I put you a new one, didn't I?
No. Something Activision had clearly. Basically, I contacted Activision. They're like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a problem with my drums." I'm like, "Give us your address." And I was like, I gave them the address, and 2 days later, drums there.
Oh, okay.
I must have used that technique to get maybe 10 guitars.
Really?
Not on the slide. It's because the World Tour guitars just kept breaking.
No. I've got a Rock Band / Guitar Hero story as well. That very game, World Tour, when it was due to be reviewed, the people brought it into a hotel in Bournemouth for a review event. That's probably about a 10-minute walk from the offices when I used to work there. And it was just playing in a hotel room. It was quite good fun. Like it was like a conference room. I left to go back to the office because I felt that I'd been there too long, and I thought I can't play it. I shouldn't be here any longer for some sort of misguided attempt at professionalism. Within 5 minutes of me leaving, Coolio walked into the room and then played Guitar Hero with the rest of the journalists in there for the rest of the day. This wasn't organised by the PR team. He was just happened to be playing in Bournemouth that night and was in that hotel, which wasn't a very good hotel, which says something about his career. And he walked in apparently stinking of weed and just played Guitar Hero with them, and I fucking missed it.
How utterly random.
I know.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. That's. To be honest, when I saw that question, I was like, "Oh God! I bet you if I opened my brain up and really picked around in it, I could have hours of semi-decent Rock Band stories." But there's two for you. That guy.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but I did think at one point that I might actually keel over dead during that Q&A because I was that exhausted.
Oh well. Well, yeah. There you go. See you later.